We always said our prayers at night. We had Catholic books just about everywhere in the house.
Raised in a devout Catholic family, Christine Strasser grew up in New Jersey. A teenager at the time, she remembers her mother talking about the Second Vatican Council underway in Rome.
There's 2,500 bishops and cardinals, etc., that are coming together.
Pope St. John the 23rd opened the Second Vatican Council on October 11th, 1962. He said a major interest was that the sacred heritage of Christian truth be safeguarded and expounded with greater efficacy. Adding truths which are contained in our time-honored teaching is one thing. The manner in which these truths are set forth is something else. The goal not to change church doctrine, but more effectively communicate it.
The constant challenge of the church is to preach the gospel to the people of its time.
Monsignor Paul McPartlin, a theology professor at the Catholic University of America and a Vatican II expert, told me church councils have been called throughout history to address challenges. Leading up to Vatican II, the world had experienced crisis and rapid change, the impact of political upheaval, world war, and expanding technological advances, to name a few. Pope St. John the 23rd believed it was time.
He really said he wanted the council to help the church get to grips with the spiritual needs of the present day.
Vatican II was the 21st Ecumenical Catholic Church Council, a worldwide gathering of bishops. It was the first council to be held in almost 100 years. Attendance-wise, it was also the largest council.
One of the features of Vatican II was that, because of the huge expansion of the church and the mission of the church, really, in a sense, the whole world was represented at the council.
Strasser remembers a day that came less than a year after the opening of the council with the death of Pope John the 23rd.
There was this rumor, John 23rd just died. And I'm telling you, the girls were, I was in an all-girls school, they were crying like crazy. Everybody loved him. Everybody.
Pope St. Paul VI became the next pope. Over the course of 4 years, between 2,000 and 2,500 bishops came together for the annual fall sessions of Vatican II. Their prayerful work produced 16 documents. 4 of them, called constitutions, included reflections on the Church, divine revelation, the Church's dialogue with the modern world, and reform of the sacred liturgy.
How tightly those 4 great pillars of the Council's teaching fit together. They all have a very intense focus on the person of Christ himself.
3 declarations were produced on education, religious freedom, declaring that religious liberty is rooted in the very dignity of a person, and on non-Christian religions, focused on the value of dialogue with different faiths. The remaining 9 documents were decrees. They covered ecumenism, focused on the restoration of unity among followers of Christ, Eastern Rite Catholic churches, aspects of the clergy and religious life, the media and how it can broadcast the message of Christ, and the apostolate of the laity.
Everyone has an active role to play, and so the idea of active participation was a very live one at the Council.
That included active participation in the liturgy. The Vatican II document Sacrosanctum Concilium proclaims, Mother Church earnestly desires that all the faithful should be led to that fully conscious and active participation in liturgical celebrations which is demanded by the very nature of the liturgy. Following Vatican II, the call for active participation inspired changes that could be heard in Catholic parishes across the U.S. Mass, once celebrated in Latin, began to be celebrated in English.
Now you're focusing in on the vernacular and that the very words that Christ would use in your language. And that's big. That's very big. Before that, it was, it was okay, it was beautiful, sacred, very sacred, but not, not picking your ears up as a child the way that your own vernacular would do.
Strasser also says the council opened the door to Catholics spending more time with the scriptures.
Reading the Bible, and that is big. I mean, now I'm reading scripture in a way that I just love, absolutely love. And I wouldn't be doing that if it weren't for Vatican II. I wouldn't.
Monsignor McPartlin understands to this day debate continues among Catholics themselves over the council and its implementation. He provides some guidance.
It would be very mistaken to underplay the authority of the council, to underplay the significance of the council. That really would be a very reckless thing to do. There's always a danger of thinking that we've understood it. Oh, yes, the council said this or the council said that. Did it really? I think we must always check and make sure that, we've got our facts right.
Words echoed by Pope St. John Paul II. At the turn of the century, he stated, "With the passing of the years, the council documents have lost nothing of their value or brilliance. They need to be read correctly, to be widely known and taken to heart as important and normative text of the magisterium within the Church's tradition." Following in the saint's footsteps, Popes Benedict XVI and Francis have both pointed back to a main theme of Vatican II, the need for the whole world to encounter Jesus Christ.
If you like, human life itself is a riddle, and the only one who can unlock that riddle is Jesus. And everyone has to meet him, and the Church exists so as to facilitate that encounter, if you like.
Mark Irons, EWTN News In Depth.